That's right.
That's what works, and I think I'm doing a really good job.
They're alive.
Yeah, it really is, right? Welcome to Tired Parents Club. I am your host, Kevin Pinto, with Sierra Langford.
Hi.
And we are talking about our kids. We talk about everything from their poops, from when they're young to when they're first born to now when they're in college. So it's a wide range. So if you haven't watched Tired Parents Club, we talk about everything about our kids and our littlest
Every
versions
topic
of
under
ourselves.
the sun you can imagine.
That's right.
Yes.
So here we are. We're going to talk about social media today.
Yes.
And we're also going to talk about taking our kids out in the snow because it was Lila's first snow. I don't know if it was Liam's, but we'll jump into that. We also have a special guest, and that is Evie McMahon. How you doing?
Hello, I'm great. How are you guys?
Good, good. So me and you went to high school together. Just so you know, I don't know if you knew that, Sierra, or not. But we went to high school, and
Friend of the show.
Exactly. But I followed her. I think. Sorry, I know I'm already going off from what I said. But anyways, you do social media. And I think I saw you weren't sharing it on Facebook, but you started recently coming out that you said, "Hey, I have a TikTok video or TikTok following, I guess."
Yes.
Sweet. Tell us a little bit about yourself. How many kids do you have? And yeah.
Well, I'm a mama. My name is Evie, and I have 5 boys total. I didn't birth all of them, but I feel like I did. The oldest one is 22, and then we have 17, almost 18-year-old. He'll be 18 this month. Oh my gosh, this month. And then a 13-year-old, and then I personally birthed a 10-year-old and an 8-year-old. So
Wow, what an incredible range.
yes.
And does everyone still live in the house? Is it all of you together?
Well, there is our oldest, he moved out to Colorado about 2 years ago.
Jealous already.
Yeah. And
About your kid moving out or living in Colorado?
Living in Colorado.
Oh, okay. I lived in Colorado for like 2 years. It was fine. It was during COVID though, so I got to miss out on a lot
Oh
of
my
stuff.
goodness.
yeah, I think he's finding out that adulthood is a nice slap in the face. And so that's good. I think it's good for all of us to grow uncomfortably because, uncomfortability grow. And so he's doing that. He's doing well. The price of living is much different in Colorado than it is in North
Oh yeah,
Carolina.
much more expensive.
So he's learning about that. And so yeah, he's on his own. I think he'll be moving home this year at some point, but not necessarily back into home, but back to the area. And then
Oh, that's why you were asking me about my house.
yes, it was. And then our 17-year-old, he finished high school last semester, but will be graduating this year, and we're hoping that he will choose to go into the military.
Do you know what branch?
Coast Guard.
Coast Guard. Nice.
Yes, my nephew just actually went to boot camp in October or in August and graduated in October from the Marine Corps. So hopefully these boys will stick to that path. Hopefully.
Sweet. Well, before we jump into this whole social media, that's our main topic today. This past weekend we had a snow day or snow last
Just
two
a little
weekends.
bit. Just a little.
Yes. Was this Liam's first snow or no?
Yes. So my son is 3 years old. This is his first major snowfall. Charlotte hadn't seen about an inch in 4 years, right? So yes, this was his first snow. He absolutely loved it.
So cute.
He couldn't wait to get his boots on. He couldn't wait to put his gloves on. He wanted to be out there forever. We had to drag him back inside. He had the 3-year-old little tantrum. No. So yes, it was great. I couldn't believe it, honestly. I know we had been talking about it for days. It's coming. But there was just such a wide range of what was predicted in terms of actual snowfall. So to see that Charlotte got 11 inches was crazy.
When's the last time you saw snow?
Well, I'm originally from Connecticut, so I grew up I grew up in the snow. I mean, we had 6 inches of snow and we would still go to school. So I'm used to it. I'm used to driving in it. Anytime I visit family around the holidays, I hope I can experience snow, and I cross my fingers that it snows while I'm visiting. So yeah, I love it. What about you guys?
I think the last time that I remember seeing like a pretty decent snow was like 2018, maybe. Yeah, I think maybe
Several years.
yeah. It's been a while. I do remember the 2004 snow though. The last big one that we had like on record.
Oh, 04.
It was a big one.
How was that experience for you?
It was fun at that age. It was fun. But now I realize, I'm really not that old, I'm approaching 32, but man, that snow and that cold it's just different now. It's so much different, and like the kids were out in it and playing in it for hours, and I'm like, oh, gosh, I'm just
You're like, I don't want to do
looking
this.
at you do that, like, oof. But
I was
you
able to
need
get
clothes.
home.
You were not.
Well, I was able to get home. Remember, because we were doing
You were here.
we were doing the Blue Room show here. So we were doing a 10-hour like cast essentially, Evie. But I live pretty close, so I was able to go home, throw Lila in the snow, as you see. She did.
She looks a little upset there.
She did not enjoy it.
Daddy, what are you doing?
So and then me
Cold stuff away from
throwing her up in the air. No, she lightened up. I think she just woken up, and I told Jen, I was like, I've got to get her out of there so I can bring her outside. So we only brought her up for like 2 or 3 minutes, because she's still 9-month-old. So I didn't want to keep her out there forever.
you mean you didn't throw her into a big, huge snow mound?
Oh, she was already upset. We actually did do a snow angel, and she was not
happy.
enjoying it. Yeah, so we brought the fam out for a little bit. Yeah, it's definitely. I grew up in Jersey myself, so I'm so used to snow. But this was really cool. I wish she was a little bit older, because you're not going to get this in North Carolina all the time. So I feel like this is like a once every 6-7 year kind of thing if you're lucky. Hopefully we'll go up north one day and actually let her play in the snow. So people were judging sometimes. They're like, oh, why are you taking a 9-month out into the snow? I'm like, for like 2 minutes.
It's water.
Yeah,
You took your child.
she's bundled up. She looks fine.
Evie, how's it going with your school district? So I know we're several days past this storm at this point. I know Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools, they've been closed all week today, finally remote. How's it going at home with your kids and school?
Well, my children are in Mooresville Graded School District, and being that it's a good thing and a bad thing. I feel like it's a good thing because we don't get grouped into the Iredell County school system, so that when, up north in the county, when the roads are still covered and it's completely bare around here, we can go to school and we don't have to stay out, where Iredell County schools, even South Iredell, has to stay out because of what's going on in the northern part of the county. But I will say that Mooresville has really, I guess COVID did something to public school. And when I say that, I mean it gave more opportunity to have school without being in the classroom, which is a good thing and a bad thing. Personally speaking, my children do best in a structured environment. And so that's why I would like for my children to go back to school tomorrow, like into the building. But I understand sometimes the secondary roads and stuff. I did drive around yesterday just to check. There are some, spots that are a little sketchy, but nothing I don't think a bus could handle just riding over. But I do understand we always want to keep the baby safe. But yeah, having to do work at home with the kids on like remote days. Now, I'm all for a snow day, and I was glad that we got a snow day on Monday. But these remote days are hard because the kids don't really do busy work like that, at home. And so in the classroom, I guess it's different because it's an instructional time in their life, and they're willing to focus on that. But sitting a child down for an hour or more, because teachers, your packets you send home take more than an hour. I want you to know that.
Yeah, you're still setting them down. You're still setting them up and all that stuff.
And I'm trying to
so-
get them just to focus for a long enough amount of time, just to finish the work that they know how to do,
Mhm.
because that's what it is. It's not new, material. But it's hard. It's hard. And like my husband and I joke and I say, I'm going to homeschool the kids next year. I'm taking them out of public school. And he was like, you're going to do that after what you've just been through on a snow day? And I'm like, but it'll be different. And he was like, I don't know about that. But, yeah, I'm ready to go back to school. I'm ready for the kids to go back to school. They're good kids, but man, they need that time. They need to go learn something.
Yeah, I know both of our daycares closed down on us, and
Yes.
yeah, I worked from home Monday, and that was difficult just to edit stuff while having Lila run around, and her messing with my laptop and trying to close it on me, and plus she's so cute, and I wanted to play with her too, and I'm like, sorry, I gotta work. But then the second day, and I was like, I'm just gonna call out sick. I'm not even gonna bother working. But that's 4 days last week too, Monday, Tuesday. So I think technically I was only had to call out once, because Jenna then and used one of her sick days to stay at home and take care of her. So it's a little rough. We get it with the side roads, but yeah, that was at least our experience.
Mm-hmm.
What about you?
Yeah. I think the past 2 weeks in general, since the ice storm came 2 weekends ago, and then this past weekend we've had the historic snowfall. I think just parents across the Carolinas are struggling right now, just because it is such a balance, right? You want your kids to be safe. You want them to get into school safe, but at the same time, you're to have them home while you're trying to work is very difficult. Is very difficult to juggle. I was telling Kevin earlier this morning, I'm like, we're not home, twiddling our thumbs, going, this is great. We're relaxing. Ooh, no, it's not relaxing. It's a struggle, because especially with a toddler, I've got. He wants attention. He sees mommy at home and he's wondering, why are you on the computer, mom? Why? I mean, I was in a editorial meeting yesterday. It was quite funny. He actually was right next to me. He started growling, and then people could hear him growling in the middle of the meeting. And I'm like, sorry. So just life happens, right? You just try to roll with it. But I'm with you. I hope their school opens tomorrow for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think they kind of wish that school would be open. They love a 2-hour delay. However, I do not.
Yeah.
No, I get that.
I'm
Well,
like,
hold
what's
on.
the point?
So we'll have to take a break right now. But when we come back, we'll talk about social media, because your kids are on social media and you have no problem with that, but some people might disagree. So we'll be right back and we'll talk about it. Welcome back to Tired Parents Club. I'm your host, Kevin Pinto, with Sierra Langford and Eddie McMahon. We are talking about social media.
Yes. So, Abby, I know you have a social media account where you share moments of your life with your children. Talk to us about that, because there are, obviously strong opinions on both sides of, sharing your family in your everyday life, and why do you do it, and why does it work for you?
So I use social media as an outlet to my kids. My kids love
So cute.
love to do the dances. I never really was the dancing type for social media. I did more of a day in the life kind of thing. I feel like day in the life is pretty relatable.
Mm-hmm.
But then, adding the dancing stuff kind of makes it fun and helps us all. But we social media for us is fun. It's an outlet. I understand where people come from, not wanting their children on social media. I get it.
Well, we try to bring people on here sometimes too, and they don't always want to show their kids on TV, and I totally get that. It's just, I know me and you have taken on, like, we don't mind showing our kids on TV. We just feel like someday you're going to be exposed to being on social media, television. Eventually you're going to end up on it. So why am I stopping now?
Yeah, that's kind of the way I was looking at it. As far as like TikTok goes, I feel like it gives you a more of an audience, whereas certain social media sites for me are more private than, say, TikTok, and I'm very careful about what I share on TikTok, within reason. And the way I look at it is my children have been in pretty much every profile picture since they were born of all social media for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand where people, and maybe people who have like new babies will say, they don't want their child on social media. I get that 100,000%. However, for someone like me, where social media grew so much in the last, we'll say 10 years even, my kids have already been on there. So if there's someone who, and this does happen and it is very scary, but if there's someone on there who is going to use my child's photo for something they shouldn't use it for, they already had it before I started doing like the big posting and stuff. And there's different ways you can check to see if your child's photo has been used in AI photos. There's ways to keep it safe. There's ways to monitor, which is what I do.
Has anyone actually given you any crap about it or anything, or just why are you putting your kids on there or something?
So yes and no.
Mm-hmm.
I think that most people who are close to me know that how I feel, that if somebody's going to take a photo of my child, they've probably already got it.
Mm-hmm.
And my husband is not a social media man. He has he has a Facebook and an Instagram. However, the Facebook's a new thing, and Instagram, he usually only just would watch reels for a long time. He doesn't post, but he doesn't post much at all. But and some people are like that. Some people, social media, it's just not important. It's not part of their life. And then some people, it's an outlet. Like for me personally, I use it as an outlet more than I use it for, to show other people things. I relate to a lot of people on social media who are going through hard things and who maybe need advice or who think the same way or think oppositely of me. And, it's just overall, it's more beneficial for me to have it than not to, in my opinion.
Yeah, I can relate to that. I think it can be scary out there. It's definitely that double-edged sword, as you mentioned. I follow several accounts on social media, several moms and family accounts, and one side of it is it's nice seeing when families are going through something that you've also gone through, so you feel less alone. You're like, oh, well, I've experienced this, or I've gone through with this with my child, and so sometimes you appreciate those accounts that they exist because it's just a way to connect with other parents. Sometimes you could feel like you're the only one going through something, and so and it looks like you're having a ton of fun with your kids.
That's right.
It's like your sons are super into dancing with you.
They are.
But yeah,
They are.
like anything, it sounds like you have boundaries of what you post. It's I know with my son Liam, I share photos of him online and videos of him online, but am I sharing every little thing that's going on in his life? No.
And we also just have time to post all that stuff.
And am I sharing like super personal information? No. I think everyone has their own line of what they're willing to cross. And yeah, you got to do what's best with you and your family.
One way to keep it really, really safe on social media, I think that people forget, is don't post while you're there.
Yes.
So keep your content. And that's one thing that I've learned just mainly from Facebook over the years is take the pictures, take the videos, do all the fun things, record it, do whatever you want to do, but don't post where you are when you are there. It is very important not to do that.
Well,
and I feel like that just keeps everybody else safe involved.
Yeah, I mean, and my wife doesn't have to worry about it with me. I am the worst at posting things on time, and anyways, I still have like Thanksgiving pictures I haven't posted. I'm like, I'll post it 2 months later. That's just because I'm.
It also
stupid.
makes sense for those larger accounts. Like, for example, nobody's really following me and my account is private. But for an account like yours, where it is public and you have thousands of people following you, at even more, makes sense that you wouldn't let people know where you are in real time.
Yes, because there are bad people out there. There are not good people out there. And
sure.
yeah, if, you can still have fun and be safe about it, I guess is the way to say that. Because I will never post something when I'm there. Period. At all.
Well, people will judge, right? So like we talked about, people will judge you off parenting in general. I think no matter what you do, My parents always have something they got to say. Oh, I did this with you, and we all encounter that, right? Everyone's always got an opinion, a suggestion.
Yes.
My thing is, as long as my kid's alive, I'm happy, and if they're happy,
That's right.
that's what works. And I think I'm doing a really good job.
They're alive.
Yeah, that it really is. It really is, right? Because when you first have a kid too, right? You're like, what do I do? Like, what do I do?
Make it
You
work.
treat
Yeah.
the baby like their glass. I feel like, especially when it's your first one, you're just,
Yeah.
oh my goodness, like holding them like they're going to break at any moment.
When I said I would never hold my baby during the first year because I was so nervous. I never held. I was like, you're in charge for like the first like 6 months, and then like when she can walk, I'll hold her. But obviously that changed fast and I learned, and now like whenever I would hand her off to other people, I'd be like, it's easy, come on, look, and I'd like spin her around like a pizza or whatever. But like she can be tossed around too, right?
And
so that's how you
is
learn.
that for you and your husband, because you said your husband he had several children, and then he had more children with you. So how was that for you
had to
guys?
come
When it's
back
like
to it.
when it's the first for you and not for him, was that a funny dynamic?
So yes and no. So for me, the one, my youngest stepson, he was still pretty young when we got together. He wasn't like a baby, but like he was pretty young, still in diapers or whatever. So I got a little bit of practice, and believe it or not, before I ever met my husband, like I really had no intentions of ever having children of my own. I just felt like I really didn't have anything to give, like as far as motherhood goes. And then once we, got together and he had these children before, I noticed that having that motherly instinct kind of just came natural to me. And so when I had my first one, my 10-year-old, I was very, like you said, holding him like he's glass and he's going to break and everything. And my husband's just like, doing all this stuff. And I'm kind of like, whoa, like, what are you doing? Calm down.
Overwhelming.
He's like, he's fine. He's a baby. Like, and I'm like, what? Like, this is backwards.
Durable. Yeah.
So having someone who had quite a bit of experience, about 10 years experience whenever our first was born, that was really helpful as a first-time mom. I will say that. I never thought those words would come out of my mouth. That my husband helped me majorly with the firstborn, like understanding like it's okay. Like it's okay and they're not going to break. It's okay.
Yes, there's so many firsts during that
yeah.
time.
That's right. All right, we'll have to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Tired Parents Club. We are still talking about social media and our kids. Something I did want to ask is there an age where you didn't maybe feel comfortable, or for other people that should you wait until a certain time before you let your kids actually handle their own social media accounts?
Oh.
Yeah, because so for me, like, I don't know if I want her, because you can put safeguards and stuff like that. Like they're putting it out there. I don't know when I would want Lila to be doing social media. What about you, Abby?
So personally, there are lots of controls you can do, and all the Meta apps and the TikTok app and the other apps they use, including Roblox, you can put keyword blockers on there. So if those specific keywords are on any sort of communication that come to them, they can't see it. That's a really good tool to use for that. My children all have social media, every single one of them. The rule was when you can read the social media post, you can have a social media. So when you can read and understand, and that's kind of how it goes in our house. Once you read, understand, and prove that, you can earn it. So.
What about you? What about Liam? When's he allowed to have a MySpace?
MySpace.
Oh Lord, that took me way back.
MySpace. I do wish MySpace still existed. As a child from the late 80s and growing up in the mid 2000s, I miss MySpace very much.
You code your own
I'm
music
sure a
and
lot
stuff?
of people would agree with me that MySpace needs to come back.
I don't know, but ranking your friends, I mean, that was a little toxic. Let's be real.
That was harsh.
Yeah,
that was a very harsh.
The same today as they were on that MySpace page right now.
I mean,
look.
I changed it almost daily. I was like, I'm mad at this person. You're going down to like, and then you could do top 30 or whatever. Anyways, it's a whole different thing. So
yeah, Liam's 3. We have quite some time before we have to deal with this. I'm imagining that he's probably going to come to us asking for a phone and asking for access to social media, and we're going to have to decide if we think he can handle that.
It's like a gut feeling, I'm assuming, right? When the time comes, we'll decide.
I know for me, and this really had to do with the development of technology at the time I was in middle school and high school. So I didn't get a phone until I was a freshman in high school. And I had to share that phone with my sister. And it was a flip phone. And I think it was a Nokia. And you had to pay for texting. And so you didn't text because your father was going to scream at you that you went over on the thing.
Yeah, this much money.
Yes. So I'm looking back at like my childhood. So to me, I'm like, maybe I'll probably do something similar, you know, for my son of, you know, when you're maybe 8th grade freshman in high school is when I will probably let you have a phone. I do want to get a hold of you, you know, especially with after school kids do sports, you know, I want to get a hold of him after school activities, that sort of thing. And then social media, I think we'll kind of take it as it comes. It's ever evolving. There's constantly programs like there's TikTok, there's Instagram, there's Facebook, there's YouTube. You guys know.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, we'll take it as it comes and probably be a similar approach to what I went through.
Cool. We'll have to start wrapping up here. Evie, you got 30 seconds. Any closing arguments you have for social media and parents?
Only thing I have to say is if you are a social media person, I won't say influencer, but if you're a person and you put your people, whoever they are, your children, your nieces, nephews, your family, whatever, on social media, and someone comes to you and gives you a hard time, you just ask them if they put their kid in that yearbook that got sent out to over 100 students and families. And if they said yes, tell them you don't want to hear it anymore. That's what I got to say.
All right, cool. I like your point of view. Thank you everyone for joining us on Tired Parent Stuff. Thank you for watching, and we'll be back next time.
Queen City News Plus. Just search Queen City News on your smart TV's app store.